Welcome back, Wrestling Warriors. Here on Matt Mysteries, we drop fresh WWE news every day. Subscribe, and let's suplex our way into the stories. The arena plunges into darkness without warning, a sudden blackout that silences thousands and sends a jolt of anticipation through every seat. Fans hold their breath, unsure whether this is a glitch, a tease, or something far bigger. For a few long seconds, the entire arena is suspended in expectation, until a gritty guitar riff rips through the silence, and the crowd erupts with a reaction so loud it feels like the building shakes. Jon Moxley has stepped back into WWE, and the intensity of the moment is unlike anything the company has delivered all year. This isn't a feel-good return. It isn't nostalgia. This is a man forged in chaos, walking straight toward the ring, eyes locked on the one performer who's spent weeks calling himself the future, Bron Breakker. Weeks of rumors and rising tension. For weeks, whispers had spread through social media like wildfire. Cryptic messages, odd backstage comments, disappearing posts that made fans wonder if the impossible was actually happening. Meanwhile, Bron Breakker had been tearing through SmackDown with unstoppable momentum, calling himself the next era's defining force. He flexed, shouted, crushed opponents, and declared himself built differently, stronger, hungrier, more intense than the generation before him. But the more he talked about the future, the more fans sensed that someone from the past, someone dangerous, might be coming to give him the reality check his swagger was begging for. The Nightbreaker's confidence, cracked SmackDown, opened with Breakker in the ring, pacing like a predator in his own territory. He called himself the backbone of the brand, the one man everyone respected or feared, the man destined to carry the company into a new era. He challenged anyone, literally anyone, to come out and test him, bragging that nobody on the roster had the guts. Half the crowd cheered his bravado, the other half booed his arrogance. And then the lights dropped. When they came back, that unmistakable music hit, and the arena exploded. Moxley emerged, calm and deadly focused, walking toward the ring with the kind of purpose that made Breakker's grin disappear. The tension between them was immediate, electric, and the crowd sensed they were witnessing the start of something massive. Words sharper than blades, Moxley stepped through the ropes, never breaking eye contact, and when he finally grabbed a microphone, his voice was low and steady. He told Breakker that strength isn't the same as danger, and that the future needs more than muscles. It needs scars, grit, and a willingness to bleed for this business. He circled Breakker, studying him like prey, calling him talented but untested. Breakker fired back, insisting that the industry evolves, that being the future means delivering when the lights are brightest, not clinging to the past. The confrontation grew louder, heavier, more personal, until both men stood nose to nose, neither willing to blink. The challenge wasn't official yet, but the entire arena knew it was only a matter of time. Moxley's mission and Breakker's denial, backstage, Moxley explained his return. He said he didn't come back for nostalgia. He returned because he was tired of seeing hype and image masquerading as greatness. He came to test Breakker, not out of hate, but because the business needs fewer bodybuilders and more fighters. Meanwhile, in another locker room, Breakker tried to convince his allies, and maybe himself, that Moxley didn't scare him. He claimed he was born ready. That experience meant nothing next to speed, power, and modern intensity. But even his closest partners noticed the flicker of uncertainty behind his eyes. The match becomes official. Later that night, WWE officials made it official. Jon Moxley versus Bron Breakker in a no-disqualification match. The crowd erupted as commentary called it a true collision of eras, raw chaos versus raw power. Social media lost its mind instantly. Analysts debated whether the stipulation favored Moxley's unpredictable style or Breaker's overwhelming strength. WWE leaned into the hype, rolling out cinematic vignettes to deepen the story and draw fans further into the emotional stakes. A week of vignettes. Before the war, throughout the week, the storyline intensified. Moxley was shown walking through dimly lit back alleys, talking about scars, survival, and the thin line between danger and destruction. He spoke with clarity and purpose, emphasizing that he didn't fight for glory. He fought because the pain reminded him he was alive. Breaker's vignettes showed him in high-intensity training sessions, lifting massive weights, sprinting until he staggered, and pushing himself harder than ever before. Yet between the reps, the camera caught glimpses of hesitation. Moments where he paused as if replaying Moxley's words in his mind. Promo War of Two Worlds. Their promos built the rivalry into something deeper than a simple match. Moxley said power means nothing without resolve, that the ring exposes pretenders, that Breaker talks about dominance but has never truly faced someone who lives for the fight. Breaker fired back, saying Moxley doesn't own pain. He's been through battles of his own. He insisted that Moxley is older, slower, and leaning on reputation rather than relevance. The promos made it clear this wasn't about wins or losses. It was about identity, legacy, and proving what it means to stand at the top. Match night, chaos versus power. The arena buzzed with energy as fans packed the building on match night. Chairs, tables, and weapons surrounded the ring, emphasizing the violence promised, but without going into excessively graphic territory. Breaker stormed out looking fired up, but noticeably tense. Moxley followed with quiet intensity, soaking in the atmosphere with a veteran's poise. When the bell rang, they collided instantly. What followed was a brutal, exhausting, physically punishing back and forth, but kept within the boundaries of wrestling storytelling rather than extreme bloodshed. Moxley used experience and gritty tactics. Breaker used explosive power and speed. Chairs bent, tables broke, and bodies hit the mat with impact, but without excessive descriptions of gore. A war that pushes both to the limit. The match built in intensity, each man refusing to stay down. Breaker's strength shined with massive slams and suplexes. Moxley countered with sudden strikes, unpredictable offense, and veteran ring awareness. The latter spot became the turning point. Both men climbed, fighting for control, trading blows until they crashed down through a table in a dramatic but not gratuitously violent fall. The crowd erupted, chanting in awe at the spectacle. Moxley claims the victory. Slowly, Moxley dragged himself up and pulled Breaker back into the ring. He hit his signature finishing move cleanly and decisively, scoring the 3 count. The arena exploded as Moxley's music hit. He stood tall, exhausted but triumphant, while Breaker lay in the ring, battered but not humiliated. Even Moxley gave a subtle nod of respect before heading backstage, acknowledging Breaker's resilience. Aftermath, respect, reflection, and the road. Ahead backstage, Moxley said he returned to prove that strength alone isn't enough. This business demands resilience, humility, and sacrifice. Breaker, patched up and shaken, admitted that Moxley taught him a lesson he needed to learn. He vowed to rebuild himself, study his mistakes, and return stronger. The loss didn't break him, it redirected him, and fans immediately began speculating about a rematch. The Wrestling World Reacts clips flooded the internet within minutes. The superplex, the ladder fall, the final pin. Fans debated every detail. Analysts argued over symbolism, character arcs, and what this means for both men moving forward. Many called it one of the most compelling stories WWE has told all year, an emotional, character-driven clash that blended past and future into something unforgettable.